So I put out this video about a day ago. Just like Issac Kappy, I'll never commit suicide. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction. This video is about the comment section and a discussion that I have gotten involved with. This is how it began. This is the person's account. This is their profile picture. Considering the fact that I'm trying to expose child trafficking, I find this picture kind of inappropriate. When I went on the internet and just typed in the name, this is what came up. This kind of crap is so common with what I've been going through. This was my reply at his first comment. Wanted to let people know it was not just the Shelby County Sheriff Neil Gross and that gas station explosion that doesn't even make sense. That's not the only thing that I have tried to get investigated. This is primarily who I'm after. I considered Issac to be a friend and a comrade in arms with all of this. He was exposing what was going on in Hollywood because he was involved with Hollywood, and we worked extensively with each other for a while. And we didn't start off as friends. Fiona Barnett is the one who brought Issac and I together, and I was suspicious of Issac at the beginning. But after this interview on an Australian radio show, which is why this video is private, I don't have access to it. But it was this conversation that started me to rethink my relationship with Issac Kappy. And then this kind of shit would happen all the time. I would call Issac, he would put us on Twitch. We would have a conversation. At this time, Fiona Barnett called in. The reason why I bring this up is because this is what I woke up to this morning. But this person knows that I knew Kappy. I have argued with Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, for years. And it is not just Issac that I have been trying to get investigated. In fact, Issac is just the latest. But I've been trying to get the murder of Lori King investigated before Issac even happened. Lori King was a co-founder of Ivory Garden. Ivory Garden was a ritual abuse survivor internet support forum. That's how it started. And Lori King was a co-founder along with another woman named Pat Goodwin. And Lori King ended up, just in short, this Amber Volatin that you see up here drove hours to Lori King's house unannounced, picked up Lori. They had sent her husband to the grocery store. The next thing happens that Amber Volatin gets Lori King in her car, drives back the hours back to Amber Volatin's house. And while Lori King is at Amber Volatin's house and all of this has happened, Lori King commits suicide that weekend. Coincidentally enough, this weekend was the same weekend that Ivory Garden and Pat Goodwin was holding the second annual support group, and it was a conference in Seattle on ritual abuse and trauma, and it was the second year they were doing it. Lori King ended up committing suicide the same weekend that the Ivory Garden conference was going on, and it happened at Amber Volatin's house, who was directly connected to Doug Mesner and Lucian Greaves. Same person. And I obviously was not the only person who had a problem with Lori King's death, since her husband ended up dead less than a year later. And the reason why I really don't have much trust in police is because my sheriff, Shelby County Sheriff Neil Gross, and that whole thing with the debacle of the bomb being planted at the gas station and that terrorist attack trying to kill me, the fact that his deputy Donovan, who was the one they were using to go after me to try and take away my dogs, but that failed. I just don't find it a coincidence that his deputy, by the last name of Donovan, committed suicide a week and a half before that gas station explosion. And so, but Neil Gross isn't the first person that I've had to deal with by far who was police who didn't do their job. Because this dude, Bruce Turner, was the detective in Floyd, Virginia, which is the town that Lori King ended up dead in, and he didn't do anything either. That's the reason, but this is what I was trying to get investigated way before Issac Kappy. The last conversation Isaac and I actually had, he, one, told me that he was completely broke, he was starving and didn't know how he was going to feed himself, and two, he told me that he had gotten a hold of 4 phone numbers that were all Mike Lucchino's, and that he was calling Mike Lucchino on the phone and harassing him, which of course horrified me, knowing what I know about Mike Lucchino. And so I told him how reckless that was, and I also asked, we talked about his faith, and he really didn't have much faith in anything other than what's here and now. Certainly didn't believe in God, really. And I realized that I could not have Isaac around because of what we were trying to expose is so dangerous. And being reckless is not wise. But right after this conversation, and I mean right after this conversation, like a couple days after this conversation, Issac Kappy got a round-trip ticket to go to Australia. And he was leaving a couple days after that. Who bought him this ticket? I don't know. But it had to have been pricey because it was a round-trip ticket flying out just a few days after that. And I had just talked to Isaac that week and knew he didn't have a pot to piss in. So this is Isaac in his last Twitch video after he got back from Australia saying that he had done something bad, and he wouldn't say what it was, but he was also saying that he was not suicidal, and if something happened to him, he didn't do it to himself. But while he was saying that on his live Twitch video, you could hear someone in the background hurting his dog because you could hear his dog being hurt. It was crying and yelping. It was awful. And the very next day, Isaac committed suicide by jumping off a bridge. Personally, what I believe is that whoever bought him that ticket to Australia took him down there, put him in compromising situations, filmed it, probably without him even realizing that he was being filmed, and then he was being blackmailed, because that's their MO. But Isaac came back a very changed person. He was being terrorized by them. This is my personal experiences with Kappy. But Kappy is just one of a long list of people I have known who have ended up dead. This case needs to be investigated because I believe that the people who were involved with Kappy are also involved with this case, and that's Lucian Greaves, Doug Mesner. The dude who has attacked me online for years, but supposedly was living 23 miles away from me for years, unbeknownst to me, and never had the balls to face me face to face. And it has nothing to do with him being a Satanist.